My beloved child. Imagine a world where every whisper that once humiliated you turns into a mirror reflecting their own shame. They laughed when you stumbled. They whispered when you were vulnerable. They assumed they were invisible, safe, untouchable. But today, everything changes. Every lie they planted. Every rumor they nurtured. Every secret they thought they owned. It comes back. Not as punishment, but as revelation. And what they see will leave them frozen. Tonight, the truth begins its quiet march. You won't hear it in shouting or anger. You will witness it in subtle, unignorable moments. The ones who claimed they were stronger than you. The ones who mocked your dreams as foolish or impossible. They will see you rise in ways they never imagined. And their reaction will be something between disbelief and awe. They will whisper among themselves, trying to understand what happened, while the answer is simpler than they think: you were never weak. The world often underestimates silent strength. You didn't need to fight them openly. You didn't need to shout over the noise. You built, silently. You prepared, quietly. You became the version of yourself that they could never imagine. And now, when success walks in your footsteps, when recognition surrounds you, they stare. Their mouths move, but words fail. Their gossip loses all meaning. Their shock is a monument to your persistence. Every laugh they gave you is now an echo of their regret. Do not underestimate the power of subtlety. While they spent years underestimating you, you spent years refining every skill, every thought, every plan. Their surprise is not random, it is the natural consequence of a strategy they never saw coming. When people watch someone rise, silently, methodically, beautifully, they see magic, but it is not magic. It is quiet work. It is patience. It is vision. And in that moment, when they realize the person they ridiculed has surpassed them in every way, the silence is louder than any words could ever be. And now, the final piece falls into place. The one who whispered the cruelest things. The one who believed they knew your limits. They are now witnesses to your triumph. Their shock is tangible. Their faces frozen. Their hearts racing. They understand, too late, that the story they tried to write about you was never theirs to control. You alone authored your destiny. And as you stand, calm, composed, and unstoppable, they are left with nothing but the sound of their own disbelief. Every gossip, every rumor, every hidden smirk, they are now silent, overwhelmed by the reality they never predicted. My beloved child. Have you ever noticed how people who underestimated you cannot hide their astonishment? Their eyes search for answers, their minds scramble for explanations, and yet, nothing makes sense. They thought they were writing your story, but they were only setting the stage for your masterpiece. Every sneer, every sarcastic comment, every mocking laugh, they were unknowing architects of your eventual victory. And now, they are silent witnesses to a reality they never imagined. Tonight, their disbelief becomes a lesson. They try to dissect what they see, desperately looking for flaws. Surely this cannot last, they whisper to themselves. Surely there is a mistake somewhere. But there is no mistake. You worked while they mocked. You grew while they gossiped. You planned while they wasted time imagining your failures. And now, in their shocked silence, they are learning the hardest lesson: true strength is invisible until it reveals itself. Look closely at the faces around you. Some hide their surprise with forced smiles. Others freeze completely, unable to even move. Every gossip, every rumor, every cruel assumption, they are all crumbling silently. The energy they once used to drag you down is now powerless. You are proof that patience, resilience, and focus can do what anger and cruelty never could. And their shock, it is not temporary. It lingers, because nothing they say or do can undo the truth that is now undeniable. There is power in being underestimated. They did not see your preparation. They did not see the long nights, the sacrifices, the quiet determination. And because they never saw it, their shock is explosive. It hits them in ways they cannot control. The people who whispered behind your back now look at you with wide eyes and silent mouths. Every word they ever said to humiliate you ricochets back to them. And as they realize the depth of your achievement, they cannot deny it. They can only stare, stunned, as if trying to make sense of a miracle, and yet, it is only the result of your relentless focus. And now, the moment of final revelation arrives. The ones who thought themselves clever, the ones who thought they were untouchable, the ones who spread rumors and gossip without consequence, they are exposed. Not publicly. Not with a spectacle. But through the undeniable, quiet power of your reality. Their silence is more telling than any confrontation. Every laugh you heard behind your back now echoes in your victory. Every doubt they cast upon you now illuminates your success. And as you move forward, calm, confident, unstoppable, they are left in a shock so deep, it changes them forever. My beloved child. Have you ever seen silence speak louder than words? That is what happens when the ones who mocked you face the truth of your rise. They can't shout. They can't explain. They can't argue. Their disbelief is a living thing, filling the room, haunting their thoughts. They thought they had control. They thought their gossip shaped your reality. But today, you show them the impossible. And what they see leaves them breathless. No one warns you about this moment. The moment when people who doubted you begin to realize the full extent of your power. Their whispers of judgment turn into internal screams of regret. They search for excuses, trying to rationalize what they once dismissed. It must be luck, they think. It must be coincidence. But the truth is sharper than any explanation. It is the result of your unwavering focus. Every day they laughed, you were building. Every time they sneered, you were learning. And now, the invisible becomes undeniable. Watch closely as their reactions unfold. Some freeze, as if time itself betrayed them. Others move, trying to regain composure, but it's too late. Every glance they give you carries the weight of their astonishment. Every murmured thought is a confession of their underestimation. And yet, you remain calm, serene, untouchable. You do not gloat. You do not taunt. Your power is quiet. Your triumph is unshakable. And that is what makes their shock eternal. They realize they cannot undo, cannot influence, cannot take back what they once thought they owned, your story. The beauty of this revelation is in its quiet cruelty. You do not need confrontation. You do not need revenge. You simply exist as proof of what they could not see. Potential does not belong to those who predict it. It belongs to those who work for it in silence. And now, every person who ever doubted you feels it. Every judgment, every whisper, every sneer, they are shadows now, eclipsed by the light of your undeniable success. And as they struggle to accept it, they remain frozen, caught between disbelief and admiration they are too proud to admit. Finally, my beloved child, understand this: the moment of shock they experience is permanent in its impact. Not because you forced it upon them, but because you revealed the truth of what they ignored. You are no longer the person they whispered about. You are a force they cannot contain. And the faces that once laughed at you are now silent, awed, haunted by a reality they never saw coming. Every rumor, every cruel word, every attempt to diminish you, it collapses before the undeniable fact of your rise. They are silenced. And the world watches in awe. My beloved child. Have you noticed how people who doubted you cannot look away when reality surpasses their imagination? They once laughed, whispered, and assumed you were beneath notice. Now, they are trapped in a moment they never predicted. Every move you make, every quiet victory, echoes in their minds like a storm they cannot stop. Their disbelief is no longer subtle. It has become loud in its silence. You see, the ones who gossiped never prepared for your patience. They assumed immediate reactions mattered. They assumed moments of embarrassment defined you. But true power lies in endurance, in unseen preparation. While they wasted time imagining your weaknesses, you were perfecting your path. And now, when success stands in front of them, they experience shock so profound, it freezes their very understanding of reality. They do not just regret, they question their own perception. Imagine their faces, contorted between envy, awe, and helplessness. They scramble for words. Their minds race. They search for explanations, for shortcuts, for coincidences. But the truth is simple: you were unstoppable long before they noticed. Their gossip, their ridicule, their false confidence, they were meaningless bricks, building the foundation of your ultimate triumph. And now, standing on that foundation, you are untouchable, undeniable, unforgettable. Do not mistake this silence for weakness. It is the loudest response of all. The people who once whispered your failures are now speechless witnesses to your reality. They watch as you navigate life with calm, effortless strength. Every sneer they directed at you is now reflected back in awe. Every doubt they planted becomes a testament to your vision. They are trapped in a mirror of their own misjudgments, unable to escape, unable to interrupt the undeniable truth: you are beyond their comprehension. And now, the final, irreversible shock strikes. The one who laughed the loudest. The one who whispered the darkest lies. They stand frozen. They cannot diminish your reality. They cannot take back the words they spoke. They cannot stop what has already unfolded. Your rise is complete, silent yet powerful. And in their stunned silence, they learn a lesson that no gossip, no rumor, no attempt to belittle can ever undo: the people who doubted you are now permanently silenced. And the world, witnessing this, cannot look away. My beloved child. There comes a moment when silence speaks louder than any shout. When the people who once ridiculed you cannot escape the truth that you have become everything they underestimated. They search for answers, grasping at illusions, but the reality is undeniable. Every whisper, every sneer, every rumor, they are swallowed by the magnitude of your success. And they are left speechless, unable to comprehend the force of what they created unknowingly, you. This is the moment they feel powerless. The ones who believed themselves clever, the ones who whispered behind your back, the ones who measured you by the standards of their own limitations, they are confronted with a reality they cannot change. You do not need to prove anything. You do not need to retaliate. Your presence alone is proof. Your achievements are undeniable. And in that quiet revelation, they are struck with a shock so profound it leaves them frozen, caught between envy, admiration, and disbelief. Notice how the smallest gestures of your life now resonate with them. Every success, every step forward, every recognition, they see it all as a monument to a truth they ignored. The gossip, the mockery, the doubts, they crumble silently under the weight of your rise. And the most powerful part? You remain unshaken. Calm. Confident. Untouchable. They are trapped in the realization that everything they assumed about you was wrong. And this shock, this profound, unshakable shock, will stay with them forever. Now, understand this, their silence is not just temporary. It is permanent in its impact. Every rumor they spread, every judgment they cast, every attempt to diminish you, they cannot undo it. They cannot rewrite history. And as they stand there, mouths open, hearts racing, minds failing to process the truth, they witness something rare. Something extraordinary. They witness your triumph in its purest form. Uncontested. Unstoppable. Unimaginable to those who once mocked. Finally, my beloved child, know this, the people who gossiped about you are not only silenced in shock, they are transformed by it. Not in their favor, not in their control, but in the undeniable power of truth. They see your light, your strength, your relentless spirit, and they cannot turn away. And in that moment, their disbelief becomes a mirror reflecting the reality they ignored for too long. You rise. They fall silent. And the world, witnessing this, will never forget it. My beloved child. There is a certain power in being underestimated. A quiet, invisible force that grows while the world laughs, doubts, and whispers behind your back. They believed they were shaping your story. They thought every word they spoke could define you. But the truth is, every single whisper they uttered was only building the foundation of the unstoppable person you have become. And now, when the truth reveals itself, they are left in a state of shock that words cannot describe. Look closely. The ones who once smiled at your struggles, who thought they were clever, are now struggling to breathe in the weight of reality. They try to speak, but the words fail. Their minds race, trying to understand what happened, but there is no explanation simple enough to calm the astonishment in their hearts. Your growth, your rise, your quiet strength. It is more than they ever imagined. And in that moment, every rumor, every mockery, every judgment they cast on you collapses like a house built on sand. The beauty of this is in the silence. They cannot argue. They cannot fight. They cannot undo what you have achieved. Every sneer, every laugh, every whispered doubt is now reflected back at them as proof of your power. They are witnesses to something they never saw coming, something they cannot control, and something that will remain in their memory forever. They are trapped in disbelief, while you stand calm, unshaken, and victorious. And now comes the revelation they never expected. The one who spread the cruelest words, the one who laughed the loudest, the one who whispered the darkest lies, they are not just surprised, they are awestruck. They witness the full scope of your journey. They understand, too late, that nothing they could do could stop your rise. And the silence that follows is louder than any confrontation, louder than any words, louder than anything they ever imagined possible. Finally, my beloved child, know this: every person who doubted you, every person who whispered behind your back, every person who laughed at your dreams, they are silenced not by revenge, not by force, but by the undeniable truth of your reality. Your focus, your patience, your relentless pursuit of growth has created a shockwave that leaves them frozen, humbled, and transformed. And in that moment, they realize the most powerful lesson of all: the ones who underestimated you are silenced forever by the reality they failed to see coming. My beloved child, there is a moment when reality hits harder than any words could. The people who doubted you, who whispered behind your back, who laughed at your struggles, they finally see the full truth. And in that instant, their shock is complete. It is not temporary. It is a living, breathing silence that cannot be undone. They realize they misjudged the very person they thought they understood. And that realization alone is enough to leave them speechless. No one can prepare them for this. Their minds scramble, searching for an explanation, any excuse to rationalize what they never believed possible. It must be luck, they tell themselves. It cannot be real. But luck had nothing to do with it. Every achievement, every step forward, every quiet victory was the product of your vision, your patience, your unshakable focus. And now, standing in front of them, your reality is undeniable. The whispers, the gossip, the ridicule, they all collapse under the weight of your truth. Notice the faces. The wide eyes. The frozen expressions. The subtle trembling of disbelief. Every person who once underestimated you is caught in a moment they cannot escape. They want to look away, to pretend it isn't happening, but it is unavoidable. You have become the undeniable truth of their mistake. Every sneer they once wore now reflects back as silent awe. Every lie they whispered is eclipsed by the undeniable power of your rise. And they are trapped in the echo of their own astonishment. The power of this moment lies not in confrontation, but in revelation. You do not need to fight them. You do not need to shout. Your very existence is proof of what they failed to see. And in that quiet, unshakable triumph, they experience a shock unlike anything they have ever known. They see your calm strength, your relentless growth, your undeniable presence. And it is more than they can handle. It is more than they can explain. And they know, deep down, that nothing they say or do can ever change it. Finally, my beloved child, understand this. The people who gossiped about you are not just silenced, they are transformed by what they witness. They see your rise, your power, your focus, and they are humbled in a way that cannot be undone. Their disbelief becomes a monument to your perseverance. And as you move forward, calm, confident, unstoppable, they remain frozen in the realization that the person they once underestimated has become a force they cannot comprehend, and a story they will never forget. My beloved child. The world often underestimates quiet strength. They laughed at your failures, whispered behind your back, and assumed they understood your limits. But they never did. And now, the moment of revelation arrives. A moment so powerful, so undeniable, that every person who once doubted you is left frozen in shock. They are not just surprised, they are confronted with a reality they cannot deny. Look at them closely. Their eyes dart, searching for answers. Their minds race, desperate to rationalize what they thought impossible. And yet, every attempt fails. Every rumor they once spread, every judgment they cast, every mocking smile, they all collapse in the face of your truth. You are living proof that patience, focus, and quiet persistence outweigh every whisper and every sneer. And in that silent confrontation, they realize what they lost by underestimating you. The beauty of this moment is subtle yet devastating. You do not need to prove yourself through words. You do not need to confront them directly. Your existence, your achievements, your unwavering focus, it speaks louder than anything they could have imagined. And as they witness it, their shock deepens. They cannot rewind time. They cannot change the past. And they are forced to face the undeniable truth: you were never the one who needed to prove anything. Notice their reactions. Some hide their astonishment behind forced smiles. Others freeze completely, unable to move, trapped in the gravity of what they see. Every glance they give you carries disbelief. Every whispered thought is a confession of their own misjudgment. And as they realize the full scale of your rise, they are left speechless. Not because you made them feel small, but because your reality cannot be denied. Their silence becomes a testament to the strength and focus they failed to see. Finally, my beloved child, understand this: the people who once gossiped about you are not just silenced, they are humbled. They see your journey, your victories, and your unshakable presence. They witness the truth of your patience, your strategy, and your relentless growth. And in that awe, that shock, that realization, they cannot turn away. They are left with only one truth: you have risen beyond their understanding, and the story they tried to control belongs only to you. Forever unstoppable. Forever undeniable. My beloved child. There comes a moment when the truth you built in silence hits like lightning. The people who doubted you, who whispered behind your back, who laughed at your dreams, they cannot hide from it. Their shock is immediate. Their disbelief is raw. Every rumor, every insult, every attempt to undermine you, vanishes in the light of your undeniable rise. They realize, all at once, that they were never in control. Look at their reactions. The ones who once gloated now tremble in silence. The ones who whispered cruelty now search for excuses that do not exist. They try to comprehend your growth, your victories, your unstoppable momentum, but it is beyond their grasp. They assumed your failures would define you. They thought your struggles would break you. And now, their astonishment is a monument to their misjudgment. There is a strange power in witnessing this silence. They cannot speak. They cannot act. They are forced to watch as everything they underestimated comes to life. Every moment they doubted you becomes a reminder of their own blindness. And the most profound part, they cannot interrupt your story. You are beyond their whispers, beyond their judgment, and beyond their reach. Your triumph exists independently of their recognition. And that is the true shock they cannot recover from. Notice how subtle it is. No confrontation is needed. No spectacle is required. You simply exist as proof. And in that existence, they experience a deep, quiet realization. They see what they failed to see, your strength, your focus, your relentless determination. Every laugh they gave you, every sneer they showed, they now witness it reflected back in your success. And in that reflection, they are silent. Overcome. Forever changed. Finally, my beloved child, remember this. The people who gossiped about you are silenced not by anger, not by force, but by the undeniable truth of your journey. They see the reality of your victories, the calm power of your presence, and they are awestruck. They understand, in a way they cannot deny, that everything they thought they knew about you was wrong. And in that enduring shock, they remain, silent, astonished, humbled, and forever witnesses to your unstoppable rise.